If you're watching this video right now, it's no coincidence. Something within you is shifting. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That restlessness, that knowing, that whisper from deep within saying, "There's more to me than this." Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And right now, at this very moment in your life, the universe is calling you to step into the most powerful phase of your existence. But here's what most people won't tell you. This transition, it's not always comfortable. In fact, it can feel like everything you once knew is crumbling, and that's exactly what needs to happen. I'm going to share something with you over the next hour that might change everything. We're going to explore the psychological and spiritual transformation that happens when a woman enters her power. Not as some abstract concept, but as a real, tangible awakening that Jung himself studied throughout his life. So if you're here, take it as a sign. The universe doesn't make mistakes. Let's begin. Before we dive deep, do me a favor. Subscribe and turn on notifications. This content is for women who are ready to transform, and I want to make sure you don't miss what's coming next. Now, let's talk about why you're really here. Chapter 1, The Call You've Been Ignoring. Let me ask you something honest. How long have you been putting yourself last? How many times have you silenced your intuition to keep the peace? How many dreams have you postponed? Because you were too busy being everything for everyone else? Carl Jung called this phenomenon the persona, the mask we wear to fit into society's expectations. And for women especially, this mask can become so heavy that we forget what our real face looks like. The signs that you're entering your power phase. You might be experiencing some of these right now. First, you're becoming increasingly uncomfortable with superficial relationships. Those surface-level conversations that used to be fine, they now feel draining. You're craving depth, authenticity, real connection. Jung would say your psyche is demanding integration. You're no longer satisfied with pretending. Second, you're experiencing what I call the great pruning. Relationships, jobs, habits that no longer serve you are falling away. And while it might feel like loss, Jung understood this as necessary death before rebirth. The old self must die for the authentic self to emerge. Third, your tolerance for disrespect has vanished. Things you used to excuse, overlook, or minimize, you can't anymore. Your inner compass has recalibrated. This isn't you becoming difficult. This is you becoming awake. Fourth, you're drawn to solitude differently now, not from depression or withdrawal, but from a deep need to hear your own voice. Jung called this turning inward, the essential journey of individuation. Fifth, you're questioning everything. Your beliefs, your choices, your identity. This isn't a crisis, it's an awakening. Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." I remember when this phase hit me. I was sitting in a meeting, nodding along to something I completely disagreed with, and I felt this surge of anger. No, it was power. It was my authentic self saying, "Enough." That night, I wrote in my journal, "I don't know who I'm becoming, but I know I can't keep being who I was." That's the moment everything changed. If you're feeling even one of these signs, drop a comment below with the word awakening. I want to know you're here. I want you to declare it, because recognition is the first step to transformation. Chapter 2, Jung's Shadow Work, Meeting Your Hidden Power. Now we're going to talk about something that might make you uncomfortable, but stay with me because this is where your real power lives. Carl Jung dedicated much of his life's work to understanding what he called the shadow, the parts of ourselves we've rejected, repressed, or refused to see. And here's the truth that changes everything. Your greatest power is hidden in your shadow. What is shadow work? Think about the qualities you judge most harshly in other women. Is it their confidence, their assertiveness, their sexuality, their ambition, their anger? Jung would tell you, whatever you judge externally is a mirror of what you've repressed internally. The traits you criticize in others are often the very traits you've been taught to suppress in yourself. For generations, women have been taught to make themselves smaller, to be nice, not honest, to be pretty, not powerful, to be nurturing, but never demanding, to be soft, never sharp. So we pushed parts of ourselves into the shadow. Our rage became being difficult. Our boundaries became being cold. Our ambition became being selfish. Our sexuality became being inappropriate. Our confidence became being arrogant. The process of reclaiming your shadow. Step 1. Recognize what you've hidden. Grab a journal. Seriously. Pause this video if you need to and complete these sentences. If people really knew me, they would judge me for... The part of myself I'm most afraid to show is... I secretly admire women who... These answers point directly to your shadow material. Step 2. Understand that your shadow contains your gold. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." That anger you've suppressed, it's protecting your boundaries. That selfishness you've been taught to fear, it's your self-preservation. That pride you've been told to hide, it's your self-worth fighting for recognition. Step 3. Integrate, don't eliminate. Shadow work isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming whole. It's about taking back the pieces of yourself you've scattered to please others. A powerful shadow work exercise. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself at age 7. What did that little girl love to do before the world told her who to be? What did she dream about? What made her feel powerful? Now imagine that little girl meeting you today. What would she think? Would she recognize you? Or would she wonder what happened to her fire? I spent 15 years being the easygoing woman everyone loved. Never complained. Always accommodated. Then my shadow erupted. Health crisis, ended relationship, career implosion. Everything I'd ignored demanded attention. During therapy, my counselor asked, "What would happen if you got angry?" And I realized I'd been taught that my anger would destroy everything. But the truth was, my suppressed anger was destroying me from the inside. The day I allowed myself to feel rage, real, unfiltered rage, was the day I started healing. Not performing rage, but feeling it, acknowledging it, understanding what it was protecting. Comment shadow if you're ready to do this work. This isn't easy, but nothing transformative ever is. And if you're serious about this, I have a shadow work journal guide linked in the description. It's free and it's powerful. Stay with me, because next we're talking about something even deeper. The archetypes that are awakening within you right now. Chapter 3. The 4 feminine archetypes awakening in you. Carl Jung believed that within every woman's psyche exist universal archetypes, ancient patterns of feminine power that transcend culture and time. And when you enter your power phase, these archetypes begin to awaken and integrate. Most women have been conditioned to express only 1 or 2 of these archetypes while suppressing the others. But your most powerful self? She contains them all. The maiden, the archetype of curiosity and becoming. The maiden isn't about age, it's about energy. She's the part of you that's curious, playful, open to possibility. She asks questions. She experiments. She hasn't yet been hardened by cynicism. In your power phase, the maiden returns to remind you that it's never too late to begin again, to learn something new, to approach life with wonder. Many women lose their maiden energy early, forced to grow up too fast, to be responsible before they were ready. Reclaiming her means giving yourself permission to explore, to not have all the answers, to be a beginner. Question for reflection. When was the last time you let yourself be a beginner at something? When did you last approach life with curiosity rather than control? The mother, the archetype of creation and nurturing. The mother creates. She nurtures. She protects. And here's what's crucial. This isn't just about biological motherhood. The mother archetype is about your ability to bring things into being. Projects, businesses, art, communities, ideas. But here's where women get trapped. We're taught to nurture everyone and everything except ourselves. We pour and pour until we're empty, and then we feel guilty for having needs. Your power phase demands a radical shift. What if you mothered yourself the way you mother others? What if you protected your energy as fiercely as you protect those you love? What if you nurtured your dreams with the same dedication you give to everyone else's needs? The Mother Awakened says, I create, and I deserve the nourishment to sustain my creation. The warrior, the archetype of boundaries and action. Oh, the warrior. This is the archetype most women have been taught to fear and suppress. Because a woman with warrior energy is aggressive, intimidating, too much. But Jung understood. The warrior isn't about violence. It's about directed force. It's about protection. It's about standing your ground. The warrior within you knows how to say no without explanation. She knows her worth isn't up for negotiation. She takes action instead of waiting for permission. She fights for what matters, even when it's uncomfortable. In your power phase, the warrior awakens with a roar. She's done asking nicely. She's done making herself small to make others comfortable. She's done waiting for someone else to save her. She says, I am my own protector. My boundaries are sacred. My no is complete. The wise woman, the archetype of intuition and inner knowing. The wise woman is your inner oracle. She's the voice you've been ignoring when you override your intuition to follow logic or please others. She's the knowing that can't be explained but is always right. Jung called this connection to the unconscious mind essential for wholeness. The wise woman lives in that space between the conscious and unconscious. She speaks in symbols, dreams, gut feelings, synchronicities. When you enter your power phase, the wise woman becomes impossible to ignore. She's the one who made you click on this video. She's the one who's been whispering, something's changing. Pay attention. She says, trust yourself. You know more than you think you know. You've always known. Integration, becoming the whole woman. Your power phase isn't about choosing one. Archetype, it's about integrating all four. It's about being curious and wise, nurturing and boundaried, creative and protective, soft and strong. This is what Jung called individuation, becoming undivided, whole, complete. Which archetype have you been suppressing most? For me, it was the warrior. I was so afraid of being seen as difficult or aggressive that I became a doormat. Learning to access my warrior energy, to say no, to protect myself, to take up space. That's when everything shifted. Drop a comment. Which archetype are you reclaiming? Are you awakening your warrior? Reconnecting with your maiden? Integration, your wise woman? Let me know. Your story matters. And before we continue, if this is resonating, hit that like button. It helps this message reach more women who need to hear it. Chapter 4. The Dark Night. Why transformation feels like destruction. Let's talk about something nobody tells you about entering your power. It feels terrible at first. Carl Jung called this process the dark night of the soul. That period where everything you thought you knew about yourself dissolves, where you're no longer who you were, but you haven't yet become who you're meant to be. You're in the chrysalis. And inside that chrysalis, it's not a gentle transformation. The caterpillar doesn't get wings added to its existing body. It completely dissolves into cellular soup before restructuring as a butterfly. That's what's happening to you. Why your life might feel like it's falling apart. The relationships that are changing. People who love the old you might resist the new you. And this is one of the most painful parts of transformation. Your growth can feel threatening to people who are invested in you staying the same. Jung understood this. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. But not everyone wants to be transformed. Some relationships will evolve with you. Others will fall away. Both are necessary. Both are okay. The identity crisis. Who am I if I'm not the person everyone expects me to be? This question will haunt you during this phase, because you've spent so long being who others needed you to be that you might not even know who you are. Jung would say, this confusion is sacred. This not knowing is where wisdom is born. You can't discover your true self while clutching on to your false self. The grief. Yes, there will be grief. You'll grieve. The time you lost being someone else. The relationships that can't survive your growth. The version of yourself that kept you safe but small. The dreams you abandoned to meet others' expectations. Let yourself grieve. Jung said, what you resist persists. Feel the sadness. Honor what was, then let it go. The fear. The biggest fear during this phase isn't about what you're losing, it's about what you're becoming. What if I become too much? What if people don't like the real me? What if I fail? What if I succeed and I can't handle it? These fears are normal. They're also lies designed to keep you small. How to navigate the dark night. First, stop trying to speed through it. Our culture wants to fix, optimize, and rush through discomfort. But transformation has its own timeline. You can't microwave enlightenment. Jung spent years in his own dark night, what he called his confrontation with the unconscious. He didn't bypass it. He dove into it. He documented it. He learned from it. Second, find your anchors. What keeps you grounded when everything feels uncertain? For some, it's nature. For others, it's creative expression. For many, it's journaling or meditation. For some, it's movement or breath work. Find what connects you to yourself when the external world feels chaotic. Third, trust the process. I know this sounds like a bumper sticker, but it's true. Your psyche knows what it's doing. Jung trusted the unconscious mind's wisdom, even when it was terrifying. That breakdown you're having? It's a breakthrough trying to happen. When I was in my darkest phase of transformation, I remember calling my mom at 2 a.m. crying, "I don't know who I am anymore." And she said something that saved me. "Good, maybe you'll finally find out." I was so angry at her response, but she was right. I had to lose myself to find myself. I had to unbecome to become. The light at the end. Here's what I can promise you. On the other side of this dark night is a version of you that is more authentic, more powerful, more aligned, more free. And she's worth every moment of discomfort you're experiencing now. You're in the dark night right now. Comment rising. I want you to know, you're not alone. This community sees you. We're holding space for your transformation. Now let's talk about what happens when you emerge. Chapter 5, Living as Your Empowered Self. So you've done the work. You've faced your shadow. You've awakened your archetypes. You've survived the dark night. Now what? Now you learn to live as your empowered self. And Jung had specific insights about what this looks like. What feminine power actually looks like. Power is not dominating others, proving yourself constantly, performing confidence, hardening yourself emotionally, becoming one of the guys, rejecting your feminine nature. Power is trusting yourself completely, setting boundaries without guilt, pursuing your desires without apology, honoring your intuition over others' opinions, being soft and strong, taking up space, speaking your truth even when your voice shakes. The empowered woman's new relationship with herself. She speaks to herself differently. The internal dialogue shifts from criticism to encouragement, from "what's wrong with me?" to "what do I need right now?" Jung emphasized the importance of self-talk, calling it the conversation between the ego and the unconscious. When you speak kindly to yourself, you're literally rewiring your psyche. She makes decisions differently. No more endless seeking of external validation. No more polling everyone else about what she should do. She asks herself, listens, and trusts. She sets boundaries like they're sacred law. Because they are. Her no is complete. Her yes is intentional. She doesn't explain, justify, or apologize for her boundaries. She pursues her desires unapologetically. Whatever lights her up, she moves toward it. Not someday. Not when she's earned it. Now. She surrounds herself with her kind of people. Energy vampires? Gone. Toxic relationships? Addressed or released. She curates her circle intentionally, keeping only those who celebrate her growth. Practical steps for living in your power. Daily practice. 1. The morning declaration. Every morning before checking your phone, place your hand on your heart and say, "I am entering my most powerful phase. I trust myself completely. I am worthy of everything I desire. I take up space. My voice matters. I am becoming who I was always meant to be." Say it until you feel it. Jung understood that the unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between visualization and reality. Speak your power into existence. Daily practice 2. The intuition check. Before making any decision, small or large, pause and ask, what does my deepest self know about this? Then listen. Actually listen. Your wise woman always knows. You just have to create space to hear her. Daily practice 3. The boundary audit. Once a week, ask yourself, where am I giving my energy that doesn't feel aligned? What am I saying yes to that should be a no? What am I tolerating that needs to change? Then take action, even small ones. Boundaries are built through consistent small acts of self-respect. Daily practice 4. The shadow integration. When you feel triggered, angry, or judgmental, pause and ask, what is this showing me about myself? What part of me is asking for attention? This transforms reactivity into growth, navigating the world as an empowered woman. At work, you'll notice you advocate for yourself differently. You'll ask for that raise, apply for that position, speak up in meetings, share your ideas. You'll stop shrinking to make others comfortable. In relationships, you'll attract different people, and some existing relationships will transform or end. You'll stop accepting crumbs and calling it love. You'll stop doing all the emotional labor. You'll stop being the therapist, mother, maid, cheerleader for partners who don't reciprocate. With family, you'll set boundaries with family members who've had unlimited access to you. This will be uncomfortable. They might call you selfish. Let them. Their comfort is no longer more important than your well-being. With yourself, you'll become your own best friend, biggest advocate, and wisest counsel. You'll trust yourself in ways you never imagined possible. The ripple effect of your power. Here's something beautiful Jung understood. When one woman awakens to her power, she gives permission to others to do the same. Your transformation isn't just about you. It's about every woman who witnesses you choosing yourself, every daughter who sees a woman living authentically, every friend who realizes she has permission to do the same. You become living proof that it's possible, and that matters more than you know. 6 months after I started living from my power, my younger sister called me and said, I quit my job today, the one I hated but was too afraid to leave. I watched you choose yourself, and I realized I could too. That's the ripple effect. Your courage gives others courage. Powerful if you're ready to live this way. And tell me, what's the first thing you're going to do differently? What boundary will you set? What dream will you pursue? Share it below. Speaking it makes it real. We're almost at the end, but I have one final message for you that ties everything together. We've covered so much in this hour together, from recognizing the call to shadow work, to awakening your archetypes, to navigating the dark night, to living empowered. But I want to leave you with the most important truth of all. This power you're stepping into, it's not something you're creating. It's something you're remembering. Carl Jung said, who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. You've been dreaming long enough. You've been looking outside for permission, validation, approval. You've been waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to be powerful. I'm here to tell you, you don't need permission. You never did. This power phase you're entering isn't a gift from the universe. It's your birthright. It's who you've always been beneath the conditioning, the trauma, the expectations, the shrinking. The universe sent you here for a reason. If you found this video, it's because something in you is ready. The universe, or your unconscious mind, as Jung would say, orchestrated this moment. You're here because you're done playing small. You're here because you're ready to meet yourself fully. You're here because your soul is tired of being ignored. What happens next is up to you. I can give you the map, but you have to take the journey. I can show you the door, but you have to walk through it. I can remind you of your power, but you have to claim it. Your next steps. First, choose one thing from this video that resonated most deeply. Just one. Write it down. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day. Second, take one action today, no matter how small, that honors your power. Set one boundary. Speak one truth. Make one choice for yourself. Third, join this community. Subscribe if you haven't already. This channel is dedicated to women's empowerment, psychology, and transformation. We're building a community of women who refuse to stay small. Fourth, share this video with a woman who needs to hear it. Don't gatekeep transformation. Pass it on. A final word. Jung spent his life studying the human psyche, and he discovered something profound. We contain everything we need within us. The hero, the villain, the victim, the victor, all of it lives inside. Your power phase is about integrating all of it. accepting all of it, becoming whole. And when you do, you become unstoppable. Not because you're perfect, not because you have it all figured out, but because you're finally fully, unapologetically yourself. That woman you're becoming, she's been waiting for you. She's been patient, but she's done waiting. It's time. If this video impacted you, leave a comment with "I am powerful." Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Share this with a woman who's ready for her power phase. Check the description for free resources: shadow work journal, archetype quiz, empowerment meditation, and a reading list of Jung's most relevant works for women. Remember, the caterpillar doesn't know it's becoming a butterfly. It just knows it can't stay in its current form anymore. You can't stay in your current form anymore. And that's not a crisis. That's your awakening. Thank you for spending this hour with me. Thank you for being brave enough to watch this all the way through. Thank you for choosing yourself. Now go live like the powerful woman you are. This is just the beginning.